wanted to make this quick video to see if it maybe helps others, because there were certain things that I did when I first started USPSA that definitely did not help me by any means. The biggest one was once I did my first match, I was hooked. I was just stuck on classifications. Like, I need to hit this, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it came to the point where all I did was go to matches. I never went and practiced. Only times I went to the range when I started USPSA was sight in something. I broke an optic, had to re-sight in, confirm 0 because whether it was switch optics around or whatever. The only time I actually went and practiced was before Range Master with Tom Gibbons. I went and shot some 25-yard bulls just because I wasn't doing that, for a while. And there are some more distant shots you have to take in his certification pistol class. So that's the only time I went to the range. Other than that, I just shot matches. If you add up all the times the total time that you're shooting, a match might take 4 hours. However, you're only shooting, if you're lucky, a minute and a half at that time. So you're not really getting that much training. Obviously, you're learning how to, doing matches when I first started helped immensely because I didn't know how to stage plan, didn't know how to do any of that stuff. That helped me at least learn how to stage plan better. I still struggle with certain things. There's people way better than me at stage planning. Sometimes, even now, the timer goes off and, oh shit, I completely forgot what I was going to do, where I was going to reload, all that kind of stuff. Still happens. I'm sure that happens to the top guys in the world. But mistakes I made, like I said, the biggest ones, I didn't train at all. Partly because I didn't know how to train USPSA. So I talked about before, I came from a more defensive background, so did classes, which again, classes are great, especially new shooters. Take a class. I've taken classes from top instructors around the country, from carbine, pistol, shotgun, etc. But most of you know this is the B8 Repair Center. This is what I focus the majority of my training on. Shot 25-yard bulls, 20-yard bulls, speed bulls, whatever it is. Another thing was 3 in circles. These, again, I'm not knocking these. These are great, fantastic training tools. 3 in circles, you would be amazed what you can do with this. I spent thousands of rounds on 3 in circles, whether it be rifle, carbine, high readies on a carbine, one at a time, right in the circle. And then, 10 in a row, high ready, go, low ready, whatever, 10 repeatedly in the circle, keep them all in the circle. That was, this is a great training tool. Did it with pistol, carbine, whatever. However, those are super successful and helpful training tools. However, that's all I knew, and things I've learned in classes. So it's a little bit different in USPSA, where movement's huge, all that kind of stuff. So now my focus is, I should say, in 2026, my focus was training, because there were points towards the end of last year where I would show up to a match. Like I said, I didn't train at all. I just tried to do as many matches a month as I could, which probably averaged out to 3 or 4 a month. But I never improved because I never practiced. So I could show up to a match before I even shot a round. I'd be like, I know where I'm gonna finish today in carry optics, just by judging who was there. And that's obviously, you want to improve. So this year, 2026, I focus more on training. So now I do 1 or 2, I say 1 or 2, it's probably 2, just because it's fun. I do 2 matches a month and then focus, more time on training. So the tools that have helped me were, books are helpful. Stoger puts out, Stoger and Joel put out tons of good stuff out there. So, dry fire reloaded, this is book super helpful for dry fire. That's one thing. I dry fire way more than I ever did when I was just, worried about defensive shooting. Practical shooting, I highlight different things, pick out different things to do at the range. So if I open up this first one, track an A zone, designated targets. That's something I love. Designated target, I think, is an amazing drill. There's so much information out on YouTube, on Instagram. Like I said, any of Stoger's books are fantastic guides, but so is YouTube and Instagram. There's there's a wealth of information on YouTube, on Instagram. I don't even know what they're called. They're not folders, but I'll call them folders. But in YouTube, when you save something in YouTube or just saving a video, I made like subfolders where, okay, these are good drills. I'm going to work on these. So now when I go to the range, you know, I'll warm up with, I like to warm up with the dope drill. I do that. I'll do, you know, something like stuff that Stoger puts out, the PTSG standards, stuff like that. Crisscross, where it's, you know, to the body, to the head, to the body, to the head. Just to warm up things. I do still, I mean, B8s, I don't use these as much, but being able to shoot from 25 yards is still very important. And how, for those that don't know how you score this, is obviously anything at 10, 100%. So if you had, like, I'll shoot 10 rounds, score it for score there. So if you had everything in the 10, 100%. Something in if you have one round in the 9 ring, you got a 99. You have, you know, a round in the 8 ring and the 9 ring, 97, so forth. So B8s are still super helpful in that aspect, but now I kind of just, you know, I'm shooting 25 from the A zone or for A zone hits or whatever. But still fantastic tools. But that's all I knew before. And again, like I said, I didn't even practice. So I was just showing up every weekend and not improving. So I forget who told me this, but it kind of stuck with me. And that's why I'm like, I need to change my strategy here because nothing's improving. I was just so stuck on classifications where I made B class as my initial classification and I was dead set in A. But instead of practicing, I just showed up at matches. And I was still able to make A, and that was just due to my background in shooting and classes and in general. So I was lucky enough to make A, but if I did not put forth the effort of actually practicing, I've never made M this year. So, like I said, the biggest thing is not getting so sucked into just showing up and shooting matches. You're never going to improve. You'll be stuck in that classification forever. If I did not make an effort to actually practice in 2026, I'd still be I'd be in A class for all this year, because you're never going to improve. So definitely utilize all the training material that's out there. Like I said, Stoger's books are freaking awesome. There's a wealth of information in here. YouTube, Instagram is awesome. And I forget who told me this, but this is what, I'll leave this with you guys. This is what kind of stuck out to me of what my aha moment of like, well, I need to practice to get better was someone, and I can't remember who, but obviously a friend, something, told me this, that a match is nothing more than the test. So how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for, you know, testing when you were, you know, if you were in high school, if you went to college, unless you're some genius, you put forth some effort in studying to then score well on the test. Same thing with USPSA. If you're just showing up to taking a test over and over again, you might see some improvement because you're seeing some of the, you know, you're seeing the same questions again, or whatever, or similar questions. But you're never really improving. You're never going to, you know, ace that exam. So that always that stuck with me more so than anything. Like, oh, that makes sense. Like I need to put forth the effort and practice to then go to a match and score well on it, do well on it. So that's what stuck with me. That helped me. Hopefully this video kind of helps you guys, especially if anyone's in a rut of, because I made the mistakes of not practicing, just showing up. These things are fun as hell. I'm just going to shoot matches, get to shoot with friends and all sorts of stuff, meet new people. This is cool. But I never improved until I started actually practicing. Like I said, I didn't know how to practice for USPSA. So I did what probably majority of, you know, if you folks out there do, is reading material and YouTube and Instagram. Awesome stuff. Lots of stuff's out there. So hopefully this video saves you guys some, you know, heartache or trouble with your practice, because it's helped me. It's made me a better shooter without actually putting forth the effort now, instead of just showing up to match after match after match. And like I said, wealth of information out there. Use it, guys. Let me know what you think. Thanks, everyone.